Thank you everyone so much for joining us this afternoon. This is kind of a combination hype session for the upcoming statewide job fair and also a chance to learn a little bit more about the Idaho Department of Labor's resources. I will introduce myself quickly and then turn it over to the other ICFL people. I'm Allison Meyer. I'm the Public Library Program Specialist here at the ICFL. And I'll let Chelsea and Jennifer quickly introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Chelsea Summerlin. I'm the Digital Skills Library Consultant over here at the Commission for Libraries, and I will pass it to Jennifer.
Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer Redford. I'm a youth services consultant at the Idaho Commission for Libraries, focusing on summer learning and teens.
Thank you to both of you. So the way we are planning on spending this time is that we're first going to turn it over to our guest speaker, and then we can chat a little bit afterward about our plans for the statewide job fair. So I will turn it over to Greg Gardner, who's a workforce consultant over at the Idaho Department of Labor, and is going to walk through some of their resources that are useful, can be useful for your patrons and just great to know about. So I will turn it over to you, Greg.
All right. Well, thank you, Allison, and thank you for inviting me to talk today about what we do at the department. I know a lot of people are curious as what the heck's going on down there. So I just want to kind of talk about what we do and how we can help anyone that you run into uh, with employment. So um, first of all, we want people to understand that we know that you know everyone is at different levels. And we want people to understand what the progressions are to help them, whether they're just getting out of college or they're getting their first job or they've been in the workforce for many years, whatever it is. We're all at different levels. And so we want people to understand the progressions that are involved so that we can help them to create a path. And that's really what it is. It's having a conversation and figuring out how can we help this person get to where they want to be, whether that be, just getting a better job, changing careers, pivoting to something else, whatever that is. So we want people to understand that there are all sorts of ways that we can help somebody understand how to get from this point to the next point. And so we just need to have a conversation. One thing I do definitely want to say is that we have offices throughout the state, and we also have people that go out from those offices and do what we call mobile offices in more rural areas. So we try to reach out and cover as much ground as possible throughout the state. But anyone can meet with us. The best way to do that is to go onto our website at labor.idaho.gov. And there's going to be a little box on there for job seekers. And it says, I'd like to meet with a career counselor. And you just click on that, put your information in, and then someone from the office will reach out to you and talk to you about, what we can do to help you, what's going on, and that's really where it all starts. We just want to have a conversation and find out how we can best serve you. So we do, a lot of basic stuff. I mean, certainly we can help people with their resumes and cover letters and job searching in general. But we can work with people on a just a one and done type basis, or we can do more case management. If somebody feels they need a little bit more help getting working, we can work with them just like a case manager, and we'll work with somebody as much as they want until they pretty much say, please go away, which is fine. I mean, but we want to do whatever we can to work with somebody and give them the services that they deserve. We do have a lot of computers in our lobby, and people are welcome to come down and use those for job search. We also have a fax machine. You don't see those too often, but we've got one. So if somebody wants to do a fax, we can do that, or make copies of the resume, whatever might help with their job search. We can help them to upload a resume into their Indeed or Idaho Works profiles. So we can help in all sorts of different ways. We can help people research jobs and wage information. We work with a lot of companies, and we can help people with direct referrals. So, if we know of a company that's hiring for a particular field and somebody comes in and they're looking for jobs like that, we will pass them along. We'll do a warm handoff. We'll send their resume in, talk to the hiring manager or recruiter, and do what we can to help them get an interview. So we can do a lot of those. We do job fairs, and I know this meeting is all about the statewide job fair. So it's important to know that we do these on a kind of a bi-monthly basis. We just did one on the 8th, and it had over 250 people that were looking for work with 30 employers. So we're really trying to create a great environment for people to get hired right there on the spot. And so the job fairs, I think, are a great way to get out there and just get noticed. We do workshops, and I'm going to get into those in just a minute. But if you read through our little bullet points here, I mean, we can help you with so many different things. And this is just the surface. So let's get a little deeper into this. We do workshops. We do workshops every single week from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They're all at 2:00. So, if you're ever wondering what time the workshop is, it always starts at 2:00. We do a maximize your job search. We do a resume workshop, both in-house, and we do a virtual one twice a month. So if you're, wherever you are in the state, we can meet with you and still give you those services. We also do an interviewing workshop, and we do those in-house and virtual as well. And then we have a great workshop, which is a computer basics for people that are not very computer savvy. This is a great workshop. It's a 2-day workshop, which is the only one, but that's so that we can give you a really good idea on how to just be comfortable with a computer. What's a mouse, what the monitor is, how to do updates on your resume, all sorts of different things that can just help you with your job search process. So workshops are a great way to just get some information, and we do them every single week. We also administer the WIOA Youth Program, which is a great program for young people from 16 to 24. And we provide a lot of services as far as like job shadowing and internships. We do counseling. We can help like young people that have dropped out of school get their GED, and we will pay them to get their GED. So if you know a young person that does not have a diploma and they'd like to get that, this is a great program for them, 16 to 24. So anyone within that range, there generally has to be some sort of barrier going on. And generally that's that they've dropped out of school or they're not going to school. So there's a lot of training opportunities and just a lot of opportunities to learn about financial literacy and how to get a good start in your career, whatever that may be. So this is a great program, and I wish there was something like this when I was younger, because it gives young people the opportunity to try something out and make a decision whether they're going to stick with it or maybe they'd like to, try another field. So it's a great program, and it's out there, for people that that may need it. So if you know somebody who's young and they may have some issues with employment or a GED, send them on down. We also administer the Idaho Launch Program, which is a great training program for people that want to get either more skills within their career or they'd like to pivot to something else. So this is a training program designed to help with a lot of trades. So it covers CDLs, it covers healthcare, it covers office, tech, all sorts of different training fields. And the state will pay up to $3,500 of a training program, or 80% of the cost of that program. So this is a great way to get some skills that can help you either move up and make more money or to change careers and start totally new. But it is a great program that can help anyone get the skills they need to move forward in their lives. And so all somebody has to do is go onto our website at Idaho Launch and look through the training services and then fill out a contact information card, and one of the team will reach out to them and talk to them about possibilities. And this is for anybody. So it's a great program to help people just move forward in their lives. Now, the adult WIOA program is not administered by us. It's actually administered by a company called Equus Workforce Solutions. But they work here in our office, and they provide a lot of the same things that the We Owe Youth program does. But they can help people that have barriers to employment or they're recently laid off. They have incarceration or drug or alcohol problems. So if there's any sort of barrier to employment, they are automatically qualified to work with Equus. And Equus, a lot of times, will get somebody into the launch program and they'll pay the other 20% of the cost of the training. So it's a great way to just get a whole new set of skills for nothing out of your pocket. They do have money for like clothing or tools or uniforms, things like that. So if you know somebody who's has a barrier to employment and they're looking to, just move forward, have them go to Equus, Idaho, and you have to put in the Idaho because Equus is a national organization. And so if you put in Equus, Idaho, you watch a quick orientation video, fill out a contact information form, and someone from their office will reach out to you and talk to you about what programs they have and what you may be qualified for. So once again, all you have to do is have a conversation with somebody, and it could lead to amazing things that can help somebody get moving in a good, positive direction. So it's worth taking the time to just go on their website, fill out the form, and then see what's available. I work with a lot of people that are either working with Equus right now or have worked with them in the past, and they've had a lot of positive experiences. So it's worth taking the time. And there's also, on-the-job training opportunities. So if you need somebody that needs some skills or they're having trouble figuring things out, come down and see us. And a lot of times we can do a warm handoff to the people at Equus. All right, so we have some different tools in our quiver as well. One of them is Big Interview, and this is a platform that we're able to share with people we work with. And what it does is that you can set up your smartphone to record yourself as you answer common interview questions. Now, it has a 10,000 question database, so you can plug in all sorts of different questions for accountant or bartender or firefighter, whatever it is. And so it's going to record you, and then it's going to take those recordings and use artificial intelligence to break it down. It's going to track your eye movements, your body language. It's going to count how many times you say or ah. It's going to count your filler words. It's going to gauge how quickly you're speaking, if it's too fast or too slow. It's going to tell you where your answer is strong and where it can be improved. So it's a very robust system. You won't find anything like it, but it can really help somebody get better at interviewing. Now, it also has a lot of modules you can watch that'll give you ideas on how to answer certain things, how to talk about if you have a criminal record, how to talk about that in an interview. Whatever is going on in your life, whether you're changing careers or you're maybe a little modest, whether you've been doing something for like 5-10 years and you have a very specific skill set. There's all sorts of different modules that can help you get better at interviewing. So this is a very robust system. We're happy to share it with anybody as long as they have a completed Idaho Works profile. So once again, if you know somebody who would like some help with that, we're more than happy to share this link with them. And this is something that will frankly blow them away. Now, we also have a website that's called Jobscape, and you find it at Jobscape, Idaho. This is a tool that's really designed to help people get labor market information. So if you want to find out what companies in Boise, Idaho are paying for accountants or for bartenders or for operations managers, it's going to tell you, and it's going to tell you what the beginning wage for these jobs are and what experienced people are going to be getting. So if you go into an interview and they say, well, what are you looking for? This will give you kind of a range to work with so that you have a better idea. It'll also tell you whether that market is growing or contracting, how many jobs on average are available every year. So it can give you a lot of good ideas as far as, okay, I was in this field, now I'm maybe going to pivot to something else. Is this something I want to get into? Is it going to take care of me? Is it going to pay what I need to survive? So it's a great tool that can help somebody decide what they're going to do, what the next step is, and if you're thinking of going to college, what would be the best field for me? So this is a great tool. A lot of people don't know about it, but you just go to Jobscape Idaho and you can find out a lot of information about what's going on. And it goes for the entire state. So you can narrow it down to whether it's in Lewiston or Boise or Mountain Home, wherever it is in Idaho, you can find out information about what companies are paying for certain jobs. So Idaho Works is our job search platform. This is also our database for people we work with. But really, it works just like Indeed or Career Builder or ZipRecruiter. It can help people find jobs. And if you go onto Jobscape, you're doing some labor market information searching, and it has a button on there where, if you find a certain job you like, you click a button and it takes you right to the jobs on Idaho Works. And so these two work very well hand in hand. But this is our job search platform. Like I say, it works like anything else, like Indeed or any of those job search engines. You can use filters to narrow down your search and find out different information. But it does have a lot of really good local jobs. And we do a very good job of vetting companies to make sure that all the jobs that are posted are legitimate and that they're from legitimate companies. So this is a great job search engine, just like Indeed or ZipRecruiter or Career Builder or Monster, or, there's like 20 of them. So this is another one that can really help you with the local market. And it also has all our events and stuff like that on there. So if you want to see a job fair or a workshop, what time those are, you just go to the events page and they're right on there. So it also tells us what we're doing. We also have veteran services. We have a couple of gentlemen in the office that are veterans themselves, and they work with our veteran population, and they have connections within the VA. So if you know of any veteran that would like some employment help, send them on down. Our guys are always happy to meet with anybody and talk about how they can help these people get the services that they deserve. So once again, I mean, this is a population that sometimes has a really hard time if they've been in combat and they're coming back into civilian life. Things are a little different. So sometimes they need a little bit more intensive services, and the VA services guys that we have can help them get those. All right, so one of the last things I want to talk about is using AI. Now, this is one of those things that certainly it's a buzzword, and a lot of people that we've run across are actually like a little reticent to even try it. But here's the thing: is that it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and it's amazing. If you've Googled something, you know how this works. But this is Googling on steroids. This is amazing, and it's an amazing tool. And I recommend this to anyone that is involved in a job search or just wants to know more information about a certain topic. And the great thing about this is that it can really dig into whatever you're interested in, whether you want to work on your bullet points for your resume, or you'd like ideas for a cover letter, or if your partner's having a 30th birthday and it's like she likes this, and this. If you want some ideas, it's going to give you some, and then you could dig deeper and find out even more information. So, and it'll be as specific as you want it to be. Everyone in this office uses it, and we use it to really find out about how we can help people better. We work with a lot of people with challenging employment. We work with the refugee population. We work with people that have been incarcerated. So we're working with challenging groups of people that need a little extra. And this is our our tool that we go to help us understand what we can do with this person, where they can get help, what can we, what are the different things that we can try that can help them get working. And so it's an amazing tool, and it all works on, the directions you put into it. So if you give it better directions, you're going to get better responses. And it'll always ask a question right at the end, where do you want to dig deeper into this? And if you say yes, it's going to dig deeper. So it's a great, amazing tool. And like I say, it's just getting better and faster. And if you've ever tried this, you know that the sky's the limit as far as learning about something, or digging into something. It can give you amazing responses. So I encourage everyone, you can use this like a career coach. If you are in the Boise area and you want to find out what companies would be the best fit for you, you can start with something as simple as that, and then you can dig deeper, and it'll basically tell you what companies are hiring. Here are the jobs. Apply now. You can really get a jump start on any job search. So, and you could just tell I'm getting excited just talking about it, because it's amazing. It's an amazing tool. And that's what it is. It's just a tool. It's not the be all end all. It can't change your life, but it can give you ideas, and ideas are amazing. So, sometimes the difference between success and failure is just a small detail. This can help you to get over that hump. So use it, embrace it. Yeah, it's technology, but what the heck, it's out there, it's free. Take advantage of it, so it can help you. It can give you understanding. So the final thing I want to talk about is that we are all connected. It doesn't matter, who we are or what we do. We are all connected, and we are all trying to do what we can to help others. Especially at the library, you run into all sorts of people that are, maybe going through something, and so this is what's great about these things like this, is that you're learning today about some of the services that we provide, and we do a lot of stuff. And it doesn't matter what the situation is, just have them come on down, and we'll talk to them, and we'll help try and understand what's going on in their lives and what can we do to help them. So we may pass we may get them connected with a nonprofit that can help them get stabilized, or we can just help them straight on with their job search, whatever it is. So that's why these things are important. It's important to know who your friends are, who can help with what. And we at the department can help with all sorts of different things. It doesn't matter what it is. If it has anything to do with employment or life in general, we're happy to sit down with somebody and talk about what's going on, and how we can help. All right. So that's about it for what I had to say. Does anyone have any questions? No, don't all speak at once.
Chelsea has a hand raised, I see.
I do. I always have questions, but I will start with one, and then if more people have questions, they can go after me. But when you were talking about internships, I was curious what types of internships you've got available for youth, like what types of industries you're targeting, or are the most popular that you see for youth?
Well, so for a young person, what we want to do is find out what they're naturally good at or what they're interested in. And so as far as like internships for a young person, we could say, well, what are the top 3 things that you might want to try? And then we can say, okay, well, we can work with this company and we can get you in there so that you can shadow somebody and see what goes on there and see if this is something you'd like. So they're not really specific. They're really designed. We will reach out to a company and say, hey, what we'd like to do is set up this internship and have this person work with you for a certain length of time. And what we will do is we will pay the person's pay rate. The company doesn't have to pay anything. They just have to let them be there and learn. So it's a great program to help people get an idea of, is this going to be a good fit?
Yeah, for sure. That tailoring is really, really cool. A lot of internships are pretty vague and you get an industry. So I like the tailoring there. But I'll
Yeah,
see if other people have questions.
it's all about what they want. It's not what's available, it's what they want. And then we go from there.
And if you do have a question, feel free to either unmute or you can drop it in the chat. I was curious, Greg, you were mentioning, computer access and fax access. Is that something that all of the regional offices have, or
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, they
so
should all
they
have a bunch of computers and we're there to help them navigate through these things. I mean, it's not for somebody to hang out and just go through websites. It's dedicated to job search and whatever's involved with that.
excellent.
Greg, this is Jennifer. I loved the concept of the warm handoff that you mentioned earlier. And I feel like, especially in Idaho and in libraries, a lot of our interactions are very personal and we get to really know people in our communities and we want to help them and connect them with other people who want to help them. Um, and I can see there's a lot of potential between some deeper partnerships between the Department of Labor and local libraries. Can you maybe talk a little bit about how a library might build a relationship with their local office so that they can provide those like wraparound services for folks?
Sure. Well, I have done actually workshops in some of the libraries in Meridian and locally. So we're happy to provide services, and be part of like little job fairs or whatever you folks have going on. We also can just come in and hang out, and if people want to ask questions or things like that, you can set up a time that someone from the office can come down there and just be available to talk about job searching and services and what we can do to help people with employment. And so we're all in. If there's a time and a place you'd like us to just hang out and eat snacks, we're all for that. But no, we want to do what we can to help people, and that's our job. And we are passionate about that, and passionate about helping people and understanding what's going on. This isn't about us and what we would like someone to do. It's about them and how can we help. And you mentioned the warm handoff, and the warm handoff, I think, is one of the most important aspects of it, because if you just tell a person, yeah, go there and talk to this person, they're not going to do it. And so you have to say, okay, you're going to go meet with Becky, and she's going to meet you at this place at this time, and she's going to help you, and here's the address, and I mean, we'll do everything we can, but drive them over there. Um, but we want people to be successful. We want people to be comfortable, and we want we want to be someone they can trust. And you never know who you can trust these days. So if you can go in, we we have a lot of people that walk by our building and they're just going, I'm not going in there, and it's like, because you don't know what's in there. But once you get in here, it's like, wow, okay, that was amazing. And we try to keep it as positive and as warm and welcoming as possible for a government agency. So go figure.
Well, speaking of walking inside, I guess we had a question in the chat about if it does it cost anything if someone wanted to print off a resume at one of the offices? Okay,
No,
excellent.
no. And we'd be happy to just look at it and just, maybe give you some pointers or help you to redo it to make it more effective. We are familiar with all of the little tricks that you need to know in order to get noticed. A resume has one job, and that's to get you interviews. And if you're not getting interviews, you need to adjust it. So we want people to understand the little things they can do to get better responses.
I have another question. So you mentioned that you offer workshops for computers, like basic computer and job skills, which I'm always interested in
Uh-huh.
since that's one of the things that we do over here too, for library staff. But I'm also noticing that a lot of like the intake forms happen online. So is there like direct hand-holding support for the folks that can't get over that first hurdle of getting onto Equus or the Department of Labor's website and doing and
Sure.
accessing those
Yeah.
resources?
And that's a big part of the computer basics workshop is that, they want people to get comfortable with just going to a website or an online application because that's the way you have to apply to jobs these days. So, and we always have somebody up front. We all take turns doing our penance up there. And and so we will help people, with their online applications, or if they're filing for unemployment, we can help them with that process, which can be very intimidating, just getting through the ID.me process. So we will help people with whatever's going on. If they need, I helped a lot of people with online applications and how to, do that as easily as possible. We usually just stand behind them and yell at them. So that kind of motivates them, gets them going. And I have to say, Allison, that the size of your mug is rather impressive.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, look at that thing.
It's
Jeez,
it's a Monday, so we need the
I
the
could
large
wash my
mug.
car with that.
Um, any other questions for Greg? Give it one more second. Hey, yes, Chelsea,
Oh,
of
of
course.
course, Chelsea. Yeah,
It's me
here we
again. So
go.
sorry. Um, so you mentioned you talked a little bit about AI right towards the end, and I'm wondering, like, when you direct folks to AI, if you work in some like basic AI literacy and computer literacy skills in there for talking about, the stuff that AI might get wrong, or any privacy concerns as well with training data as they
Oh,
interact with
sure.
it and things
Yeah.
like that.
No, we're always very conscious of telling people whenever they're using something like ChatGPT or something like that, that you do not want to put in your contact information. Never put your name or your email or your phone number or even your location. Never, you don't need that stuff. It can work without it. So, yeah, privacy or just being mindful of whatever you put online. You need to be careful because who knows what's out there. It's a snake pit. So yeah, you got to be careful. And so yeah, we always encourage people to be careful with their information, and that's just life these days. You have to be careful, and anything you do online, you have to be mindful of, because you never know what can happen to your information.
We had another question in the chat, which is, what is the best way to set up one of the workshops? Calling the local office, or is there a central contact for coordinating that kind of thing?
Um, you could do it just like, um, can I share my screen? Can you see this?
There we go. Yes.
Okay, so if you just go to our Department of Labor website and you go to this job seekers box, there's a little thing, contact a career counselor. You just click on that. And you could do this for setting up a workshop as well. You just put in, name or information, and just in the box say, I work with the the library. Whew. Wow. Okay. Sorry, dementia. It's kicking in. But yeah, you say, I work with the, Boise Library or Meridian Library or wherever, and we would like to set up a workshop. That's all you need to say. And then if you have your contact information, we'll shoot you an email. We'll reach out to you and we'll say, okay, how can we help you? So this works, for people that want to set up a appointment, want their resume looked at, whatever's going on. I'd like more information about Equus, whatever is on somebody's mind, just throw that in that box there, and then somebody will address it.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions?
And I'm sorry, probably 9 times out of 10, you're going to be stuck with me. So I know that kind of.
Everyone reach out to Greg.
Yep. Now I'm the guy. So, but I love these things. It's a good chance to just meet people in the community and talk to different people and get the word out. Um, it's important. It's important, and like I mentioned, we are all connected. And so, when we have better communication, then things can happen, and people can be helped. And you have a friend over here, that can help you with all sorts of different things. That's what makes a difference.
Really. And libraries are great partners for that. So we appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
Um,
No, I love libraries. They made a big difference in my life when I was growing up. Uh, just because unfortunately my parents went through a kind of a bitter divorce when I was like 12 years old. And sometimes just going to the library and just grabbing a book and just sitting down would help me to kind of, find some peace. And so, you know, uh, you got to do what you got to do to keep going.
Definitely. Definitely.
Sorry, I stopped sharing.
Thank you so
That's
much,
it.
Greg.
I'm not going to say anything more.
Oh, you
Just
can say
not
you can
sharing.
say anything else. You are welcome
No, but I
to hang out. Oh, go ahead.
I appreciate the opportunity to pop in and just talk about what we do. And like I say, you've got friends over here, and you've got people that would love to help in any way that we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much.